Well, today I'm seeing red. Not because I'm angry, but because I have the first wave of the robot-enhanced design Transformers, that being Optimus Prime, Megatron, and Soundwave. And we're going to look at all three in the latest GotBot True review. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, light them up, baby. And hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton. It lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, Transformers, Collectors, NL, The Autobot Family, Transformers vs. G.I. Joe vs. DC Universe vs. Marvel, and all of my social media links. All of that is down in the description below. If you want to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon, see what we offer to you through Teespring, or of course hit the join button right here on YouTube, baby, and become a channel member. And this is the red robot enhanced design line, wave one of Transformers. It is Optimus Prime, Megatron, and Soundwave. I could rank these as to who I think is the strongest of the wave and the weakest of the wave. They are definitely not going to be for everyone. In essence, they are glorified action masters. If you need your Transformers to transform like Starscream Wife, then this is not going to be for you. It absolutely will not be. If you want super accurate, cool robots, they might be for you. These are on loan to me by friend of the channel, Cyril. So I appreciate him letting me take a look at these guys. We're going to see how well this idea worked out. I mean, they took a risk doing this, but let's see how it turned out when we head over to the table and take a look at all three. So let's clear something up right off the hop. These are, of course, the robot enhanced design, the red Transformers line wave one. These guys do not transform. In essence, what they are is glorified action masters. And if you didn't like action masters back in the 90s, then you're not going to like these guys. If you did like action masters back in the 90s, you might like these guys if you're just interested in a robot that looks accurate to what you saw on your TV screens in the 80s. Then these guys fill the bill perfectly. We're going to look at each one at a time, but the same score starts them all off. For transformation, all three get a big fat 0. That's right, they get a goose egg because they don't transform. So we're going to kick things off with Soundwave first, and without anything on him at all, any of his accessories that he comes with, I can tell you right now that this guy definitely has heft. It's weird. I don't know what sort of plastic it is that's used to make these guys, but it almost feels like a reinforced rubber. Like, as I feel it, I know it's a plastic, but I get a tactile sensation like I'm touching the top of like a rubber mallet, right? If you've ever touched like a rubber mallet, you know that like dense, thick, hard rubber. Well, that is what this feels like to me, but I don't think that's what it is. I think it is some sort of a plastic. A little bit malleable, little bit. If you know what the, say, 25th anniversary G.I. Joes, the 3 3/4 scale are like, or the recent reissue of a lot of those, if you know what that plastic feels like, you have a fair idea of what this feels like. For something that is basically a tall deluxe, it's definitely not Voyager size, this clocks in with nothing on them at 131 grams. Typically, traditionally, a deluxe is about 84, 85 grams. More recently, some of them have been significantly lighter, scoring something like 70 to 75 grams. So 131 grams, there is heft here for sure. Though he's starting with a 0, the look of the guy, it's about a 9. It is not exactly animation accurate, but pretty close. The head certainly is, although the neck looks kind of long to me. The chest is sort of, I don't know, it almost feels excessively blue to me here, and I don't think it really should be, but we can sort of fix that a bit. The lower legs, there's a lot of blue on the lower legs, especially right here, and that should be more of a like whitish, silvery color, maybe more like this color up here. So it's definitely Soundwave, it's definitely close to accurate, but it's not quite there. Pretty close though. And I wish that around here, though it's sort of an orangey color, I almost wish that it was a little more yellow, or like it's kind of this orangish color here. I wish that that was a little more of a shade of yellow, or maybe not as bright as the Netflix one, but maybe a shade of gold. I'm not sure, but like the orange is slightly off for me. But I'm gonna say it's a 9. In terms of articulation for the guy, the arms can go all the way around. They can go all the way out to the side for the guy on some kind of a ratchet. We have a super deep elbow to here. By the way, there's not screws. There's definitely plastic, rubbery pins, whatever, that's holding it in. But again, and I think there is, like I don't think that's a metal pin. I think that's like a plastic rubbery pin, but it's pretty well enforced. Again, elbow sort of soft ratchet. The wrist can rotate and just move a little bit. We'll talk about that and adjust a little bit. The waist, ooh, no waist on the guy. That's a bummer. No waist on the guy. Legs out to the side. I don't know, about that far. It's all right, not spectacular. The leg going back can go back that far, ahead this far. So like if you want him to be sitting, like he can sort of do it, but you really got to kind of push it a little bit. It would definitely help if we had the hip skirt maybe able to move a little bit or something. Thigh rotation, which is nice. Deep knee, a little over 90 degrees. And I think we're supposed to have an ankle tilt, but it isn't much. And yeah, like there's definitely something in here. Like it's not a lot that the ankle can do, but a little bit. And this button up here does open his chest. It's weak, really, really weak, but it can open. There's still a bit of a blue hue on the glass. I think the glass itself, or the plastic that makes up the screen, should have probably been clearer than what it is. You know what? I'm gonna say that his articulation overall is, it's about an 8. It's not it's okay, but it's not spectacular. 0, 9, 8. You know, I mean, if you like these, it's good. I mean, it's gonna be like 8.5. But if the transformation really holds you up, this is like a 2 or 3. That being said, he does come with accessories that do help his display. Besides, for the hands that are on him with the kind of trigger finger, he has a closed fist hand, and you just pop the hand off and pop this one on. We've seen it 100 times before. An extremely nicely sculpted and colored version of his blaster. I do wish the gray up front was more silver, but it is what it is. It seems to me that the one on his shoulder cannot come out. I think it's molded in. If it does come out, I can't get it, so I'm not forcing it. And last but not least, we get a Laserbeak, or a flat slab, and it's different on both sides. It's supposed to be Laserbeak. It does not transform. It's just a flat slab that goes in his chest, but it looks pretty cool. And there you go, we have Soundwave. You can see now his chest has Laserbeak in behind it. There's still a little bit of a blue hue. That's what I was talking about earlier. For the record, if you switch the hands out to the fist hands, he will not be able to hold his blaster as he's doing here. The fist hands look good, but they're not quite as functional. Still, it's up to you what you want to do. That Soundwave, he's alright, but probably the weakest of the wave. Before we move on, I just wanted to give a close-up of the guy's face, and you can see the chest looks pretty good. By the way, he does have a waist. I was mistaken. It's just that this one was kind of gummed up, but there is a waist swivel. So the 8.5 that I gave his articulation, or the 8 I gave his articulation, is probably more like an 8.5. It's a little bit better because he can move his waist, and it looks a little more dynamic. See, I was wrong, my mistake. He is a little better. I still think, though, he's the weakest of the wave. And so now we go from the weakest of the wave to arguably the strongest of the wave. Clocking in here with the way he looks here. He is 149 grams, still about the size of a deluxe, very, very hefty indeed. I do have a hand over on his left side that is holding an Energon cube. In fact, all of his interchangeable hands are for that side. Apparently, the only one that goes with his fusion cannon is going to be his closed fist hand. So the others look like this. You can have Megatron doing such dynamic things as pointing, telling Starscream to hand over the keys to the family car because he's not allowed to have a lend of it on Friday night. And then Megatron makes the clutching motion as if he wants to grab and throttle Starscream for disobedience as he runs out the door with the keys to the family car and drives off. Finally shaking his fist at the young defiant Starscream as he drives down the road and then patiently waits for Starscream to come home with his mace flailing wildly. This is the loosest fit. It looks cool, but it is a loose fit. Also, it's all one piece. You can't really move it. I mean, I guess you can, like it's like that soft rubbery plastic, but this is basically one solid piece. And why in the heck do we even get variations of Megatron's head sculpt when we know that they can do this? Just do this every time. This is quintessentially Megatron. The black is even in the places on the head where it should be, which saved me the hassle of having to paint it in myself. If there's any one of these that I can forgive for not having an alt mode, it's definitely going to be Megatron. Because A, he rarely changed into his pistol alt mode anyway in G1, and if you happen to have the Dr. Wu pistol, or you have the one that came with the Centurion set, you kind of have his alt mode, so this might be the ideal robot mode. It is colored to perfection, with the red on the side of his abs, with the gray on the front of his legs, on the sides a little darker gray, the black fusion cannon, the perfect head sculpt, even the dots and rectangles and squares on his abdomen are correct. 10 billion, honestly. This is a perfect paint job for him. Oh, what about the articulation for this guy? Well, the head goes left, right, it looks up and down, and I don't think he has a long neck like I do with Soundwave. The arms can go all the way around, way up, not ratcheted, but it feels really good. The elbows are ratcheted to a little over 90 degrees, bicep swivel, obviously the wrist can move. The fusion cannon is fixed as best as I can tell. Since this is on loan to me by a friend of the channel, Cyril, I don't want to push it too hard. Waist rotation swings nicely. The legs are a little shaky, but not too bad. Can go back, can go only out that far. I think that's a bit of a bummer. I wish it could go farther. Like that's, you know, I'm an old man and even I can kick that far. Out as far as out to the side goes, the hip skirts do move. So he can do splits to about there-ish, roughly. It's not perfect, but it's okay. The toes can wiggle a bit, and there's ever so slight of an ankle tilt. Not a lot. Waist up, tremendous. Waist down, kind of lackluster. I'm going to say overall his articulation is about... Stuff is mostly there. The range, like the joints are there, the range of motion is what's hurt. I'm going to say that the articulation is about a 7.5. It's okay. I still think he's the best. He can score some pretty great poses, but if you want him sitting on his throne at Darkmount, he's not gonna be able to do it. And then we get to Optimus Prime, and again I ask, why do we get certain variations when we know that it can be done this well for animation accuracy? He, again, like Megatron, is a 10 billion. This is quintessentially Optimus Prime. He has the gray line under his chest, the gray mask, and it's gray up around his eyes. We'll see his face shortly. We have the kind of white pelvis, white down his legs. We even have all 5 of the lights on his pelvis colored in yellow. We have the little lower pelvis piece colored in blue. Everything here is perfectly accurately colored, 100%. I love it. The head sculpt, I want to talk about for just a moment. If we can get a head sculpt like this, why is it not used every time? The brim on, I'll say, his hat has like an angled top part, and we rarely get it, but we have it here, and it is accurate to the animation. Also, you'll notice on his bicep that kind of partway down, it's almost like we have 2 sections, which again, we rarely get. We got it with Siege, we lost it with Earthrise. Like there's the shoulder, and then the bicep itself has like a cut kind of halfway down, almost like it's 2 sections. Plus, we have 1 Autobot symbol on the left shoulder. That's where it should be, not on both shoulders. These are things that could be done on every version of Optimus Prime. It's because it's just molding. That's like the lights down on his pelvis. There can always be 5. You can always color all 5. Same with the lower pelvis. You can color that blue all the time. There's no reason not to. Even to make his thighs and his pelvis that white color, there's no reason ever to not do that. So there's things here that I'm like, it's great, it looks perfect.
why is it not used all the time?
I'll tell you why it's not used all the time. Because that way people keep being on the hunt for the perfect prime. I think Earthrise has kind of knocked that out of the ballpark, to be honest with you. But, you know, unless you want to have the MP44 that in robot mode really does kind of look like this, you know, you're going to have to put up with something else. I think the Siege done a tremendous job as well, honestly. Here, what about the articulation for the guy? Because we'll do his accessories last, why not? Just to jazz it up here. The articulation again, head goes down, up, way up actually, left and right. His neck is a little long depending on the position of his head, but I kind of like the longer neck here because it does give his head some extra mobility. The arms can go all the way around. They're not on a ratchet. Out to the side is on a little bit of a ratchet, but that's tremendous. The bicep is a good 90 degrees, if not slightly more. Bicep swivel, wrist swivel, and movement. We have a waist. Again, it was kind of gummed up and sticky. We have pretty limited articulation out to the side. I mean, I don't know, I feel like I should be able to move more out to the side, and they're kind of loose. They do like to fall down. The back is not much. The forward is a little bit better than Megatron, but not a lot. Again, having the hip skirt be able to move would help his articulation tremendously. Like, he wouldn't be able to sit very easily on the bridge of the Ark, for example. So, like, you know, like this is as close as he's really getting to sitting. I guess you could kind of put his legs out and sort of sit him back, but he doesn't look good sitting. And we do have a little bit of an ankle tilt. Not a lot, but a little bit of an ankle tilt. I'm going to say, I don't know, man. I'm going to say that his articulation is, again, it's all there. It's about range of motion being the problem. I'm going to say, again, it's roughly about an 8. No, it's not. I'm going to say it's about a 7 again. It's there, but the limitations on the range really kind of bum me out, if I'm being perfectly honest. He comes with a ton of accessories,
not the least of which is his beautifully molded fusion cannon. I love this. Plus, these alternate opened hands. There's one for each side. A closed fist for each side. Man, that takes me back to G1. A pointing hand for the right hand. And this one that was on him, which of course holds his ion cannon. And last but not least, his Energon axe. And goodness gracious, who do I think I am? I completely forgot the most important accessory the guy comes with. That being the Matrix of Leadership. And yes, it comes out of his chest, and it's cast in gray. It's painted with a bit of orange, and in the center a little bit of like Allspark blue. When his chest was open there, the hands were close to the window sections, but they can't really hold on to it. A little bit of a shame.
And since Optimus has the least mass of Wave 1, coming in when he has nothing extra on him at 125 grams, which is still significantly more than a typical deluxe. And remember, these guys are about like a tall deluxe size, again, very dense, but he is the lightest. He also comes with the most accessories, so that's where the extra plastic is definitely made up. Or, saying extra plastic, I'm still not sure if it's plastic or like a dense rubber or what it is. They feel weird to me, man. They feel weird to me. The leg articulation is sorely lacking here, man. Sorely lacking. You really needed the hip skirt and stuff to be able to move. It's all right. He is definitely the middle of the road for this wave, for this set. So what can I say about these guys in the end? They display nicely. Like, all three of them here look great. And if you want to kind of change the poses, play around with them a little bit, fiddle with them a little bit, they're great for that as well, even though they do feel weird to me. But that just might be me. Maybe you'd say, hey, no, the plastic that's used feels great. And it does. It's not that it feels bad. It's just, it feels different than what I'm used to with Transformers. They're going to be for a very specific type of collector who is definitely more interested in posable robots, and they couldn't care less about the alt modes. If you don't care about the alt modes and you want good posable, screen accurate versions, This line is going to be right up your alley. Now granted, here in Canada, they retail for $30 plus tax. Little bit expensive for something that doesn't transform, but considering the accessories, considering the density and the mass, I think it kind of makes sense, if I'm perfectly honest. I really do think it kind of makes sense. If you want alt modes and you're of the camp that Transformers have to transform, this is 100% not going to be up your alley at all. When I was a lad, I used to kind of pretend that I could put my Action Masters in certain modes. It's pretty rough. I don't even think you could pull that off here. Like, I don't think there's anything you could do to Optimus Prime there to make it seem like it could be a truck, you know? But they're charming for what they are. It's just what they are is going to be very polarizing to a lot of people. And here we are once again, and here they are, and they look the part. The big strength here is how fantastic they look. They feel weird, like it's not bad. The plastic or the man, it has to be plastic. I don't know, like it's like rubbery plastic. I don't know, like hard rubbery plastic. It's such a weird tactile sense, but it feels hefty. It feels good in the hand. Admittedly, like Optimus here, like the legs are a little wibbly wobbly. I wish they were a little more secure at the hip. He looks the part. He doesn't transform. His accessories are excellent. He's painted well. Great sculpt. Okay articulation, but around the hips and waist, or yeah, I guess hips and waist, it's and the kind of the way the lower body is, I wish it was more secure. Then we have Soundwave over here. Very similar type of thing to Optimus. Little more solid, little more secure. I like the extra depth to his arms. The waist was gummed up a little bit, but it's okay. I do wish the coloration was a little more animation accurate, but I mean, again, you're not mistaking. It's Soundwave at all. I do wish that the laser beak could actually transform a little bit. Like, I wish we had the bird version, and I kind of wish this thing on his shoulder could come out. Again, if it can, I can't get it to. And where this isn't mine, I don't want to kind of fiddle with it. And then we come, last but not least, to Megatron, the standout star of the wave. He is easily the best one as far as I'm concerned. He has the most mass built into his robot mode. It'd be nice if there was some paint on both ends of the fusion cannon, maybe, to make it a bit of a different color than just stark black. But yeah, no, I think he's definitely the strongest. I don't know. They're like glorified Action Masters. Like I said, they're not bad, but they're definitely not for everyone. You have to be very much in the market for, like I said, hyper accurate robot modes for the animation. If that's the one thing, the main thing you're looking for, these are for you. If you want anything outside of that, these probably aren't for you. Let me know what you think about the R.E.D. line so far. I'm kind of up in the air about it, man, if I'm perfectly honest. I love to hear from you guys. I appreciate you coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we offer to you through Teespring. Or, of course, you can hit the join button right here on YouTube. Become a channel member. While you're at it, man, hit the subscribe button. Stick around. Have some fun with us. Don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every single day, you do make a difference. And I look forward, baby, to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres or the old-fashioned way, baby, right here inside the videos.